Marth with the rhythm going. Yeah, you can't let him in the zone, man. Marth has this, like, there's this whole concept where, like, there's a spacing, I think, in Marth Falco, when Marth can just, like, you know, okay, you know the thing where you short up into the laser and then you can come down with the forward air, or you can, like, crouch power shield or dash power shield. And then Falco just kind of has to really work to get in, and Marth gets to kind of dictate the pace. When I was watching Zane Mango, I felt like that very little of it was that, you know? Mango did a video about this spacing where he did a poorly drawn paint art. Wait, I want to see that. Can you find me that, Zarmary? Can you actually find me the Mango MS Paint? Okay, most of this video was Mango talking about how not to get got by the Marth. But the other side of things is how to get the Marth, which is the SQUAB. I wish he elaborated on the SQUAB. Because the SQUAB is what I was really impressed by. I feel like Mango squabbed out of his fucking mind today. Mango would get in the SQUAB zone. The SQUAB zone, really, I think the best SQUAB zone is when you're behind Marth. If you can get behind fucking Marth, Marth cannot squab. It's like, he's like, I always say Marth is like a Titan. You got to hit the nape of his neck. You know what I'm saying? He's got one weakness. That's how you take him out. He's like a big, towering giant. If he grabs you, he's going to eat you. But if you hit the nape of his neck, he can't do anything about it. So you got to get right behind him, and you got to like that. The way Captain Levi does. Marth is the kind of character where when you're beating him, when you're beating his ass, it feels easy. And when you're losing to him, it feels impossible. He's that kind of character. Some characters aren't like that. There's some characters where it feels kind of stable, you know? But Marth is the kind of character when you're beating him, you're like, damn, this is fucking easy. And when you're losing to him, it's like, holy fuck, I can't do anything. He's that kind of character. Side note, I had this theory about Marth and why the Spaceys don't like fighting him, like Leffen and Cody in particular. My theory is that, like, okay, I was thinking a lot. I've been having these Drug Fox lessons, and we were talking about, like, the mid-range. And I basically, like, TLDR, I had this Drug Fox lesson where Drug Fox was telling, like, we were breaking out one of my VODs or whatever, and Drug Fox was like, okay, look. So you're playing against Captain Falcon, and he was telling me, okay, so you're doing a really good job. So here's the theory against Captain Falcon, right? I'm gonna explain this to you guys because this was a recent lesson I had with Drug Fox that I thought was really cool. Let me show you guys how this works. So this is from a Drug Fox lesson. So Falcon's here. Falcon's a big tough guy. So he's got biceps, and he's got like a knee. That's Falcon. Is it obvious that this is Captain Falcon? And okay, so there's basically like 3 zones against Falcon, right? Which is zone 1. What do they call it? 1, 2, or 3, right? So zone 1 is like the range where Falcon can hit you with like a nair in place. So it's very small. This is zone 1. Zone 3 is another bad one. And you're going to notice the colors here. Zone 3 is where Falcon can run forward and he can hit you with like a dangerous move. Like, you know when Falcon like just runs forward and fucking knees or stomps? Zone 3 is like where he's going to land with a running knee or a stomp or whatever. Those are the bad zones to be in, kind of. Because if you're standing... bad is... Well, okay. Bad is obviously... You got to cross these zones sometimes. But if you're just fucking spacing in those zones, it's dangerous. Because if you're just standing in zone 1, Falcon can throw out a nair. And he can, like, do a good nair. He can do a stomp in place and hit you. You know, or like the Wizzy stomp. Where he turns around and does the little fucking stomp. Drifting backwards and drifting back in. That's the zone 1 you're going to get hit by those. Zone 2 is the good one. So I'm going to draw it in 2. Zone 2, look what happens if Falcon tries to do the fucking flying knee at you. If you're in zone 2, you can react to him fucking flying at you, and you can, well, okay, in zone 3, you're still okay if you're really reacting, because if you're in zone 3, if you're reacting well, those moves are slow enough, you can kind of put your shield up, but then he's gonna have frame advantage, you know, and it can be a little dicey. That's where he's gonna get those big open ups on you. Zone 2 is kind of an awkward zone for Falcon to be in, because if he does an aerial in place, it's not gonna reach you. If he flies forward there, it's actually gonna go over you. So it's kind of awkward for him to space in that area. Whereas a guy like Fox, you could, for example, you could turn your back to Falcon and you could do like a short up back air. So like here's Fox, and I play green Fox, so I'm gonna draw it in green. Or you could do up tilt or something like that maybe. Or you could just dash dance. You could just dash dance back and forth. You know, you could go like that. You could be dash dancing in here. Okay, you see? And then there's zone 4 again, and zone 4 is like okay. Zone 4, I'm not gonna do like. Zone 4 is even outside. Zone 4 is like you're on the other side of the stage as Falcon. You could like laser him or something, or basically you just want to. But zone 2 is the nice zone to be in. And the reason zone 2 is so good is because you can kind of do these moves that if Falcon tries to come forward, you're going to fuck him up. You're not running into his aerials. Like you're not going to run into that fucking stomp he does. You guys know the Wizzy, the Lord stomp, right? Where he does that. He dashes back and then he does a short up stomp and then he fucking, you know what I'm talking about? The Lord stomp. So he goes like that way and then boom. Like that. Stomp. Like that. You know what I'm talking about? So zone 1 is really scary. You're gonna get hit by those moves. Zone 3, he can fly at you and he can put a lot of pressure on you. You can come with the nair, you can come with knee or stomp. And the best thing you can do in that zone is usually, if you see it coming, if you want to react, you're not going to be able to hit him. You have to put your shield up. And if you're reacting well, you know, you'll still be safe because you can get your shield up, but it's risky. If you hang out in zone 2 all the time, you make it pretty stressful. By the way, thank you, Food World, for the prime. You make it pretty stressful for him because if he wants to commit, he could dash forward and grab you. He could do like an in-place aerial, like a nair, and then kind of drift forward to try to clip you. But those are the aerials you could actually whiff punish. If he's doing these stomps in place or nairs in place where he does those drift back nairs, those are kind of hard to whiff punish sometimes. The nairs in place in particular are really hard to whiff punish. But if you're in zone 2 and you get him and he wants to actually try to hit you, he has to take some risks. So that's where the matchup's really good. And this is basically the summary of every lesson DrugFox does in Fox vs. Falcon is you want to stay in this zone 2 right here. This is the good zone. So this is the crux of like how to space against Falcon. Okay, so we had this lesson. Mostly talking about Fox, but this is actually pertinent in a lot of matchups. It's pertinent with Marth as well, kind of. It's pertinent with Sheik. This is not just a Fox thing, but obviously even in the Falcon Ditto, I think that there's, I mean, I'm studying it from the Fox perspective, so I haven't thought about it that much as these other characters. But this is kind of how I've been thinking about it. And we basically broke down this set of me playing against Falcon where I was doing a really good job getting into zone 2. And I was mostly playing the matchup from the right spacing. So I was looking good in the neutral, but then I would always, every time I got into this zone, what DrugFox was basically saying to me is I would immediately be like, okay, I'm in the good zone, time to go in. And I would always, like on beat 1, like on the first beat, I would run in and I would try to get him with like running shine. So I'm like, I'm trying to do this running shine. And if you do the good shine, that color's kind of hard to see. So I do the running shine. This is a running shine. You see the running shine? Or I do a nair at him, you know, and I'm always like, I'd get into the good zone, and then I'd like, okay, I'm in the good zone. The pressure's on Falcon, time to go in. And I'd always go in immediately, right? And DrugFox was like, okay, once you get into the good zone, try to work on sitting on it for like a second. You know, you don't just like stagger your timings, if anything, or just fucking chill for a little bit, and then you could like full jump, you know, and you can basically bait him, because if you're in that good zone, Falcon throws out those arrows in place. If he throws out one of those stomps, you know, those whizzy stomps, you can react to that and run up and fucking up smash him or dash dance grab him. You know, you're actually set up that if he does the stuff to keep you out of zone 1, because every Falcons don't want you. It's the same concept as Marth. If you get behind a Falcon and they have to get their shield up, and you start shield pressuring them, bloop, 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 and you do the bloop, bloop, bloop on them, this is where Falcons don't want you to be. You got doing all the bloops, right? And then they're shielding. If he's shielding, imagine he's got the red shield like that. That's bad. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want you to boop behind his shield. Same way with Marth. Very similar concept. Similar concept. So Mang0's is basically talking about that wall, the SQUAB zone, and this is the SQUAB zone over here. Okay, this is the danger zone. Basically, this is the danger zone right here, and then this is the SQUAB zone right here. SQUAB, and Falcon can't SQUAB with Fox. I mean, he can, but like, you're favored there. SQUAB zone. Okay. So this is where you want to be. You want to be behind him. But you don't get to teleport behind him. You're not fucking like, you know, Chip Zaneth from Guilty Gear. This is something DrugFox told me. He's like, you know, some fighting games, you want to get on top of them, you just teleport on top of them. That's literally how it works. You literally teleport. Project M, Mewtwo, you literally teleport on top of them. You're already on top of them. Nothing personal, kid. Melee, you can't teleport. You got to play neutral, unfortunately. It's just how the game is. So, you got to work to get in the SQUAB zone. You don't get to teleport into the SQUAB zone. You don't have that kind of power. If you know how to do it, you could get him throwing out these bad aerials if you stay in zone 2. You whiff punish one, or you get on top of him when he's trying to like dash back or something. You're in the SQUAB zone. You just got to stay unpredictable. Mang0, very good about staying unpredictable. Again, this is all from the point of view of Fox Falcon, but I think it's a very similar concept to matchups like Fox-Marth, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how a lot of matchups, you kind of think about them. And, you know, you can structure this in terms of like, you know, whatever your matchup is that you're working on. But for me, you know, I think that this is a pretty common concept. And I was thinking about it in terms of Falcon because it's very crystal clear in that matchup. It's very like structured, and you can kind of think about it in that way. You know, with some other matchups like Falco, it gets kind of dubious because there's lasers and things like that. And then certain things are different. Like with, for example, with Falco, like you can react to his approaches better because Falco's kind of slow on the approach. Like Falco has pretty slow dash. You know, he can't just like dash in and charge at you the way Falcon can with knee stomp. So you're going to be like spacing potentially a little bit closer to him, but you're also going to be looking for more full jumps to like, because you can really wall him out with the full jumps if you stay in the good zone, you know, and that's kind of how Cody likes to play the matchup, for example. So every matchup's a little different, but the concept is basically the same, where there's this kind of good zone that you want to be in where you get to do your threats and they kind of don't if you're reacting to what they're doing and they're just trying to keep you out. Yeah, I think if you look at Mang0 versus Zayn, I think a lot of this stuff kind of applies. And I will add that in Fox-Marth, I think what frustrates a lot of the top Fox players in the matchup is I think that Fox-Marth is the kind of matchup where even when it feels like, and I think this is what really frustrates Cody and Leffen and those guys. I think in that matchup, it really feels like even when you're following all the rules and you're mostly playing the way you should be playing, it feels like there's the most potential for shit to go wrong. I mean, I notice it myself. Like when I'm playing Fox-Marth, like I'll sit there, I'll go online and I'll play Marthados against these unranked Marths. And I'll be whooping them. And then I'll switch to Fox for like a game or two. And suddenly it feels like, for like at least, I always have this. Like the first game, I'll switch to Fox against a Marth. And the first game, I do really bad. Like I barely beat them or I even lose. And then I get used to the matchup and I start winning. But like, it feels like in Fox-Marth, I feel like it's one of those matchups where you can be following almost all the rules you're supposed to follow. But a lot of shit can go wrong. A lot of shit can go wrong. For example, you think you're doing a good job playing the right zone, but it's really easy to underestimate dash attack. It's really easy to underestimate how far it goes. Also how hard it is to punish in terms of how he can, you know, he has the really good IASA frames on that move, which means he's able to cancel it into a dash back really early. It's hard to convert the good zone into the SQUAB zone sometimes because of like shit like him SDing out of drills, or you get the drill shine, he slides to the ledge, and then you have to reset to neutral. When you actually do get on top of him, you grab him and you feel like you should have won from, you know, you kind of feel like you won neutral, and then up throw up air and he smashed you out of the up air. There's a lot of ways that even when you do all the things that are supposedly right in the matchup, it can feel challenging, I think. I think you can feel, it can feel like it's like, man, even though I'm doing all the stuff I'm kind of supposed to be doing, it feels really fucking hard.